We'll start from 20 and go backwards. A&M's 20, Carolina's 19, Nebraska's 18, USC 17, Penn State 16. Michigan Wolverines come in at 15th ranked for recruiting. Tennessee Volunteers at 14. Florida Gators 13. Clemson at 12. Florida State up to 11. Notre Dame coming in at the top 10. Auburn at 9. I thought they'd break the top 10. Oklahoma 8. LSU 7. Have 1 5-star and 14 5-stars. 15 4-stars and 13 3-stars. Oklahoma at 8 had 2 5-stars, 12 4s, and 11 3s. Auburn at 9 had 2 5s, 9 4s, and a lot of 3-stars. Notre Dame had 1 5-star. Texas at 6. Texas has 2 5-star players, 9 4-star players, and 11 3-stars. 2024 class fell a bit short for the expectations, falling outside of the top 5 for the first time since 2021. But, what I said a while ago, man, I can't keep up with this thing. And I know you go back and look at national championships and the years that Bama won it, they usually have the number 1 recruit class those years. But as long as you're filling the spots that you need as a program, that's what matters, man. You got to fill the places, the positions, and the coaches know what positions they need. And I've seen schools recruit not in the top 5 or so, and be in the playoffs and give their teams a chance. And now you got 12-team playoff. Man, you're gonna have a high advantage of a possibility for kids to play more football because you're going to have 12-team playoff. Okay, number 5. Everybody tuned in here. Thank y'all for coming by. Subscribe to the channel, man. Come back and hang out with us Sunday nights at 6 o'clock. We do this all through the year. We don't take breaks. We don't have off seasons. We cover college football and during the season, high school football and stuff. And we're going to talk about recruiting now. We'll get into schedules and stuff as we go on through into March and whatnot, and college basketball some. So subscribe to the channel. Help us hit 500 today. Miami, Coach Cristobal, I think he's a good coach. It's just everybody that expects so much. And I know he's been there a couple of this will be his 3rd season, right? I think this will be starting his 3rd season. It's just hard, man. It's just going to be hard. It's going to be hard for anybody to win and just come out and win. But there's a better chances now than there has been because you're getting kids to come in and can they can contribute because of the portal. Kids that are coming in have played football. Okay. It's not like the kids that are coming out of high school have never played college football. Well, now this transfer portal, Miami, number 5 in recruiting, man. If they put that together down there, watch out. You better watch out because that area in general is just talent. There's just guys running around all over the place down there. They play a game down there, a high school game. It's called the Muck Bowl. Look it up. Just hit Google while you're listening. Go over there to Google. I think it's MUCK, BOWL. This area down here is just they built this high school football game on where supposedly these immigrants came back in the 100, 200 years ago, and they dumped these coffee grains out. And this whole area, this little spot is built on the field is where there's coffee grounds or whatever, and they call it the Muck Bowl. There's so much talent running around down there. And these coaches go in this area and recruit it, and it's kind of dangerous because some of these little shacks, they don't even have power or water in some of them, but they have some of the most talented young players anywhere in the nation. If they put this together and Coach Cristobal gets it done, they could very well be that. Miami is always going to be a dangerous team. I remember my times when Miami was very dangerous. Now, Hurricanes number 5. They have 1 5-star, 14 4-stars, and 12 3-stars. Miami hasn't had a top 5 recruiting class in the 24/7 begins each of their classes, which has started during the 2010 era. Despite a disappointing last couple of seasons under head coach Cristobal, it looks like he has his things that he's wanting to do and implement going in the direction that he is trying to do. And to say he looks like that he has things on the right track in Coral Gables, signing a top 5 class this year, that's a good way to keep your job. I'll say that. The biggest name in the class was 5-star defensive lineman Justin Scott, who was the number 1 ranked prospect out of Illinois and the 3rd ranked defensive lineman for this class. Miami signed some other big-time defensive playmakers, which be in this class, including 4-star line edge rusher Marquise Lightfoot and Booker Pickett Jr., and a defensive lineman of Armando Blunt and Artravius Jones also added to the Hurricanes roster. Perhaps the biggest signee in Miami on the right track in this latest class would be the Hurricanes signed the most top 25 prospects from the state of Florida this cycle. That's dangerous. I'm telling you, if he's from there, man. He played down there, okay? If Coach Cristobal figures that out, and what he just done, he recruited the state of Florida, more kids from the top 25 in the state of Florida. Coach Cristobal just figured it out. All they need to do is try to get in this playoffs and win a round or two and at least get into a Final Four. I'm telling you, man, their talent level alone, you just got to put it together. And it's just going to take somebody special and a special staff to get them all running in the same direction. And when they do, ain't nobody going to beat them, man. I'll tell you right now, if Cristobal gets all this figured out, the Hurricanes they'll make it national championship games. Now, as even as things out now and how the portal is, it may, even things out a little bit. They may not win it. If he's doing this, he's going to get top 25 prospects out of Florida. Dude, Florida, Cal, Texas are the top states in the nation to have high school prospects and the best high school players around. If he's getting the top 25 out of each of the, he's going to do well. Now, for the hot seat, our good old buddy's always in the live chat here, Mr. Jeff Anderson. Jeff's always in there kicking around. Hope he's doing okay in the hospital over at Emory. His Buckeyes, which he's not satisfied with Coach Day. Coach Day, coach there as offensive coordinator with Urban Meyer, winning a national championship. Buckshot Jones bringing in their second-team quarterback, and Ezekiel Elliott's, and the list goes on. Defensive players they've pumped out of there, quarterbacks. I don't know how they didn't beat Georgia year before. Georgia got some of that Bama luck. Just you got to be lucky sometimes. And Ohio State was just not lucky. Ohio State number 4 recruiting. 1 5-star, 12 4-stars, 8 3-star class. Ohio State has lost to Michigan and has missed out on the Big Ten title game the last 3 seasons. Now, they did a solid job on winning the recruiting battles outside of Ohio in this cycle. In fact, 2 of the Buckeyes and 2 prospects in this class of the 5-star receivers, Smith and the edge rusher, Eric Houston, which all hail from Florida and Georgia. Respectively, Smith, the top-ranked receiver last year, can come into play immediately for the Buckeyes. And that we also know about Junkins coming in, and we know about Caleb Downs coming in and playing on defense. Now, quoted and saying that there were some pieces that we felt like that we needed to get coming out of this, Day said back in September. Now, did we get everything and the whole wish list? No, but we got a lot of things that we did need. And the prospect Julian Sayin, bringing in Coach O'Brien, he had coached at Bama. That's why Sayin wanted to go up to Ohio State. And and play because when O'Brien was at Bama, that's why Sam wanted to go play there. Well, he left, so Sam backed out. Coach Day says, well, what is it going to take to get you? Bring my coach. Okay. Yeah, how much? Okay. Yeah, we'll get that for you. So Coach O'Brien from Alabama will now be there coaching. Now, this is not a surprise, but kind of a surprise. We got a lot of guys, man, that's just been there for 2 or 3 years, and they're recruiting well. A former Alabama grad assistant there worked under the old GOAT from defense, Kirby Smart. Dan Lanning at Oregon is 3. They wound up with only 2 5-stars. They got 16 4-stars and 3 3-stars. 16 4-star players. 16 4-star players. Ohio State had 12, and Miami had 14. So it's on the track of having a lot of these 4-star players. Well, and they're right there on the cusp too, man. I mean, and if they wouldn't have run into the Penix and them playing, had to play Washington, lost to them twice. Man, how do you lose a team twice? He'll figure it out. So Oregon's class best in school history, thanks to the head coach Dan Lanning efforts in this cycle to be the biggest names in the class, including 5-star edge rusher Elijah Rushing, and well, he's got to be good. His last name's Rushing, and 5-star receiver Gatlin Bear, who committed also to the Ducks over the weekend. During the early signing period, Lanning said he was also able to flip a pair of 4-star receivers, Jeremiah McClannon and the Pelham kid from Ohio State and USC. This 2024 class also includes 4-star defensive end rusher Breland and a Jericho Johnson and a 4-star cornerback. Yeah, I ain't trying to even tackle that one. Obidegwu. Oh, Big Woo. Yeah, I had a lot of them in my class. Oh, Big Woo. Yeah, old Charlie, oh, Big Woo. Lived up there up on the other side of Schlackland. What? I mean, where are these people from? Seeing historic history and recruiting class following back-to-back double-digit win seasons isn't too shabby for Lanning, who is entering, like I said, his 3rd year as the Ducks to reach into the heading into next season. If you don't think the Ducks is going to be, I'm going to take these off when I'm doing video tomorrow. I'm fixing to be done here. Sign up here and do the last top 2. Thank y'all for coming by and hanging out, man. National Signing Day. This is a big day, and you can see some of where your favorite schools, who's getting those players and who's getting some of these 5-star guys. Crimson Tide fans, it looks like they're going to hang in, and they're going to finish at 2. Let me just say, I'll brag on Coach DeBoer a little bit. To come in and deal with what he's had to attempt to do, to try to follow, which nobody's going to be able to do this, to follow the best to ever do it, and bringing his staff, Coach Groove, and bringing Womack down from South Alabama, and Coach the Morgan, he's kind of their player guy that kind of gets in there and works with them, and a Nessmeyer kid, young guy, comes in and works with the staff too. What a job he's done. He's got the number 2 recruiting class. Dude, we had a mass exit. You had like 18 players that were already leaving before Saban ever said he was retiring because they wanted their money. They didn't want to get taxed on this money because they all flipped out. And then he had 10 other kids that didn't want to stay and play, and we lost 4 starters. You lose 4 starting positions. Nye Black tied in, and then Roy Dale, and then Amos and Caleb. And you finish with the number 2 class. Hats off, Coach DeBoer and staff, for holding together and keeping all the Alabama fans from running off a cliff somewhere in the long Trotter Park in Redneckville, South Alabama. I mean, it was bad. I mean, there was people, literally, calling 911 saying, what am I supposed to do? My chest is hurting. Well, sir, or you may be having a heart attack. What's going on? Well, Nick Saban's just retired. I'm having chest pains. Okay. Dickie Nedmeyer, I mean, he just camped at Coach Saban's statue for days, just going out there and eating oatmeal pies and drinking coffee, just totally devastated. And this to come in and have a number 2, even if you had a top 10 class, hats off to them. 5 5-stars, 14 4-stars, and 9 3-star players filling in the places they need to fill. Nick Saban retiring from Alabama last month sent shockwaves throughout college football. Coach DeBoer and staff to come in has done a good job. Alabama did lose 5-star signee Julian Sayin, and we talked about why he left. But bringing in Brown and Macumba and Mincy and Williams and the Hill kid, I talked about him when we first come on. His name's Daniel Hill, and I'll click on him right here from Meridian, Mississippi. I knew some Mississippi. Go watch some film on him. Daniel, Daniel Hill. Daniel Hill, 5'11", going to come in and has a good weight and fast, plays tall in his pads. Going to be a great running back for them. And the offensive lineman, Cassie Poe, hanging on to the bulk of Alabama's 2024 recruiting class is a great first step for DeBoer's new era in Tuscaloosa. I agree. Wow. I mean, man, you're talking about just that's tough. You gonna try to come in there and keep this class together? I don't know. I don't hate it. Did it. And the tampering stuff, that's crap. I've seen the text from parents and the parent and the coach. It's just the kids being funny. So there's no tampering. 4-star, 4 5-star players. Let's see here. Bama wound up with 5 5-stars and number 1 class breakdown, 8 3-stars, 16 4-stars, and 5 4-star players. Well known that Georgia may have missed out on the college football playoff last season, but the Bulldogs aren't slowing down anytime soon. 2024 class ranked with the first national per the 24/7 composite. It is a headline by 5-star prospects such as cornerbacks Elijah Robinson III, linebackers Williamson, Chris Colga. We talked about him. KJ Bolden. We talked a lot about him. Man, he can play. I've seen him play. All 3 of these guys are top 3 players in their position. Head coach Kirby Smart cleaned up inside the state of Georgia, signing 9 in-state prospects while signing 3 each from Florida and Texas. Georgia's rich in high school football players. And top, how'd that work out? It was the top 150 players or top 300 players in college football. Alabama had 19, I think, and Georgia had like 36. It's just not even close. And it's no knock against players here in my lovely state of Alabama. We all know why birds fly upside down over Georgia. We know why. I loved my state, Alabama. Lived here. I lived here all my life. Lived in Montgomery for a while before I come back up this way. But Georgia has lots of talent. And for Kirby to go in there and lock down a lot of his state, and they don't recruit Buford High School well. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't explain that. But then also to run down there and him and no Cristobal just kind of running the state. So Coach Norvell at Florida State and Billy the Kid, they pulled that quarterback where they got from. But Coach Norvell, they kind of cherry picked some kids from like Roy Daly, got him from Alabama, but they're going to be on scholarship restriction for 2 years at Florida State. So for Kirby to go down into Florida, and obviously Coach Cristobal just told you about how good he did in the state of Florida and in Texas. And I just told you about how crazy it is at Texas. These kids, these districts, like with 10,000 kids in these at this big school out there they play. Coach Smart agrees to say here, quote unquote, I love getting kids from the state of Georgia. If I could sign every kid from the state of Georgia, I would love to do that. That would be great. That's not realistic, though. It's just not. Some years our state provides us speed and athleticism. Some years it supplies us in size. That is very true. And I could go on too. We don't want to leave out Louisiana. I mean, the state's full of a lot of large men. Always can get large, great commitments out of Louisiana. And to finish up here, but there was a big loss for Georgia as a cycle from the quarterback from Dylan Raiola. The Bulldogs did sign 4-star quarterback Ryan Pugsley in this cycle, but losing Raiola while Carson Beck has just one more season left. Athens doesn't put the quarterback position in as great a position as they would hope to had for the season ending of 2024. So that's kind of it. Auburn breaks in the top 10. I thought they would. Miami, good class. Don't let old Coach Cristobal, don't let him get the crystal ball and figure it out, because if he's taking some of the most top 25 talents out of Florida, I'm telling you, but think I'm crazy, but subscribe here to the channel. Come on every Sunday night and hang out with us, and I'll tell you again, they'll have a good team. And it's just going to be a matter of time before these old Bama coaches are battling it out. Think about it. Just think about it. Oregon, Texas, Miami, and Georgia. You know where they all come from. And there's others out there too. Because Ole Miss is, don't forget about them. Now, they didn't recruit. They were like, where were they at, 15, 14? But he plugged a lot of kids from the portal. And Lane's not stupid. He's going to get the kids that he needs, that he knows is going to make his class better. Wow, what a great year we're going to have. It's going to be a good one. I'm out of water, and we're out of time. And it's about time to go eat a bean or something. So I got a very interesting video of Wilt Chamberlain. Y'all comment over here and tell me if you'd like to see it. It's kind of a real story about a 100-point game that he had. Gives a lot of in-depth stuff, little clips from all kind of interviews, and puts together a good storyline. It's about 35 minutes long. It's not real long. And tells about, because there was no cameras at the game when he scored 100 points. There was only like one local newspaper guy, and they had on radio. But it was very – some of it was a little funny. He had to catch a ride home from some of the Knicks players that he just scored 100 points on. And he only dunked the ball like 4 times in that game, and he shot about 20 free throws, granny-style free throws. I just thought it was interesting. I'd like to share it with you. So if y'all like to see that, let me know. Come back Sunday night and hang out. Almost 3 hours. Why not just make it 3 hours? Let's just make it a round number. Let's go back over here and see where our other top classes had finished here. Yeah. Ohio State. Yeah, LSU at 7. Let's not forget them, you know. Notre Dame at 9, and they're recruiting at number 1 right now for next year. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They're number 1 for the 25 class, Notre Dame. So Coach Freeman, they have 23 commitments wind up being this year. Auburn is showing to be 10 on the 24/7 Sports. The other one was on the Rivals, and they're going to a different spot. Not usually a whole lot. Tennessee at 13, I'm just telling SEC teams. Florida at 14. A&M at 19 with 17 commits. They had 1 5-star and a lot of 4 stars. Missouri at 20, it shows, had 1 5-star and several 7 stars. And Ole Miss, we talked about them. They didn't wind up with any 5 stars, but 11 4 stars and 10 3 stars. Lane is bringing back enough to win some football games. And we got to talk about South Carolina, number 22 ranked in recruiting. South Carolina averaging their score of 90 .75, 16 commitments, 2 5-stars, 9 4-stars. Not forget about them. Kentucky, 25th in recruiting, and North Carolina stepping right outside the top for 26. Mississippi State at 28. Now they're going to go through a spell here. Mississippi State is going to go through a spot where that's going to be hard for them. Arkansas, and these guys are going to have to play Texas and Oklahoma. They're going to have to play Texas and Oklahoma. That's kind of all. The Vanderbilt comes in at 41. They had 2 4-stars. What are they going to really get? They had a Deontay Carter, safety kid. It's going to be pretty good from Texas, and they had a kid from Georgia, a 3-star kid to be a defensive lineman. Kid from Jacksonville, Florida, edge rusher, a tight end, Fortenberry. See if they had any kids from around here anywhere. Go to Vanderbilt, Louisiana, Tennessee, Knoxville, Snellville, Georgia. Jalen Lackey. He is a cornerback. Good luck to him from Snellville, Georgia. There's some good football players around Snellville. Whit Muschamp is at